Hey there, and welcome to the Healthy Teen Life Podcast. I'm Leslie, a certified health, nutrition, and life coach helping teens, college-age young adults, and their parents navigate body image, weight, nutrition, and disordered eating so they can build greater self-esteem and live the happy, healthy life they deeply desire. Each week on this podcast, I cover health and wellness topics affecting all young people. I'll share insights and information on your changing body and mind through expert interviews, research, and relevant facts. I also provide easy and actionable strategies that you can implement immediately to make health and wellness changes that positively impact your body and your mental well-being. So, if you're a teen or young adult wanting to feel your best or a parent supporting your child's journey, settle in and listen up because this is your go-to resource for living a healthier, happier life. So often when you're given advice as a teen, it's coming from an adult. And while that is super helpful, many times it's also inspiring and motivating to hear from a peer who's been through a similar experience as you have and understands what it's like. Today, I'm joined by Lauren C. Harris, a 19-year-old youth empowerment speaker dedicated to helping teens and young adults build resilience, self-love, and strong, confident mindsets. Growing up in a traumatic environment, facing undiagnosed autism, bullying, and childhood abuse, Lawrence found himself at just 12 years old, disconnected from himself and trying to protect his younger siblings in the midst of chaos. It wasn't until he was finally able to live with his mother that things began to shift. For the first time, he started reflecting on his life and what was within his power to change. That turning point sparked a journey of healing through journaling, meditation, and therapy. As he began to rebuild his sense of self, Lawrence realized he wasn't alone and that his story could help others. He began sharing his journey on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, eventually speaking at churches and local community organizations. And over the past 4 years, Lawrence has inspired thousands of young people by turning his pain into purpose, using his voice to uplift others and remind them that their story isn't over. I hope this episode with Lawrence will have a positive impact on you too. So let's get started. Lawrence, thanks so much for being on the Healthy Teen Life podcast today and welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm really, really grateful that you're joining us today and sharing your story and all of the wisdom that you've gathered through your years of making changes in your life that have been transformative for you. So I would love it if we could start out by having you tell a little bit about your story, what happened for you and how you got started in some of this transformation that you now help other people with.
Well, I often tell people that sometimes life knocks you down and you have to get back up.
Yeah.
In my case, life knocking me down came in the form of not only being bullied for the vast majority of my childhood up until the age of 11, but then at 12, my dad blacked my eye. I don't know why exactly. I was sitting on this black couch and my mom and dad are separated, by the way, but we were at his house and he sees that my mom's calling my phone to tell my sister happy birthday.
Yeah.
And his wife doesn't like that for some reason. So she looks at him and says, "Are you going to let him talk to her in my house?" And then he blacks my eye. The first time, I thought this was just a mistake. But then the second, I realized now I have to be the one to keep my younger siblings safe, which was quite a lot of pressure for a 12-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But through years of working on it, years of journaling and meditation, and so many more things that we'll get into, I've been able to not only help myself, but go on to make a career out of helping other people, getting up on stages and speaking. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
The hard part was having to learn all this firsthand.
Yeah. I mean, you've gone through a tough childhood, from bullying to child abuse within your own family, and then trying to make sure that your siblings are safe and that everything's going to be okay and stepping up for them. So you're deciding that you need to make some serious changes for yourself. And so what did that look like for you?
Well, some of the changes that came initially was very unhealthy. For example, I would have to turn off my emotions in order to make sure they were okay because I allowed myself to truly feel. I wouldn't have been able to make myself take the brunt of it if I allowed myself to be in tune with my emotions back then. I wouldn't have been able to protect them as much as I did.
Mhm.
So it began very unhealthy. But once me and my younger sibling got out of there through the court system, it took them a while because they like to drag their feet. But once we did get out of there, and I finally was able to begin to reflect on myself and not only the pain that I was causing myself, but that I was unintentionally causing to others because when you refuse to let anyone help you because you wanna be strong and make sure everyone's safe but you, it kinda makes it hard to be around. So, I was looking in my bathroom mirror when I was 15, and I just asked myself, "Why? Why did all this happen? Why do I feel as if nothing I do will ever be good enough? Why do I feel as if everyone somehow is gonna secretly betray me?" Those are some hard questions. But I had to ask myself that in order to realize that, okay, Lawrence, what happened happened, but we can change what happens moving forward. And I got into journaling because all of those thoughts and ideas,
Mhm.
even when I had been in therapy since I was 12, it's still hard to vocalize feeling as if you are taking a shower made of lead and everything that sets you off is like these lead bullets hitting you in the face. That's really hard to explain to somebody.
Yeah.
So instead, I got into journaling as a way to write it down and get it out of my head, get it onto the paper, and reflect on it. And there were so many changes that happened after that, but those are two critical moments for me.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, you've a lot going on in your mind and a lot of probably self-doubt, feeling like, "Did I cause this? Am I part of the problem? Is there something wrong that I'm doing wrong?" Or I can imagine a lot of different thoughts going through your head. But it takes a lot of strength and resilience to start to look at that and figure out, "Okay, how do I move forward? What do I do next?"
Yeah, and something you mentioned there too is for years I would think to myself, was it my fault? And then was there something I did to cause that?
Mhm.
I don't know if it's just a natural reaction that children have toward their parents, but we want to see them as good people. And our mind will come with these crazy excuses and paint any picture possible that says, no, they're a good person. If they're a good person, but they did a really bad thing, that must mean you're the problem because good people don't do really bad things unless there's a reason for it.
Right.
So that self-doubt part was major for me, and it would show up in so many different areas of my life. It would show up in friendships, like, "Oh, did this person actually really wanna be my friend, or are they just pretending?" It would show up in relationships. Does this person actually like me, or are they just pretending?
Mhm.
It would show up in the opportunities I let pass, like, "Oh, no, that's too good for me. Oh, no, I won't even be able to maintain it, so why even try? Why even show up?" But through journaling, it helped me to put that down on paper and start to question it. Like, "Okay, Lawrence, yeah, it might be too good to be true, but you'll never find out if you don't try. Yeah, this person might be pretending, but you'll never find out if you don't let them love you."
Mhm.
So, looking back on it too, I think one of the biggest thing that really shocked me, even to this day, is how we often begin to run from looking at the truth. Because the truth is, yes, whatever situation we go through in life, it's painful, it hurts. but we often suffer more in our mind than we do in reality.
Yeah. Mhm.
And if you don't acknowledge the pain and acknowledge the truth and acknowledge the hurt and confront it head on and deal with it internally in your own head, the physical issue can be gone. But if you're still mentally trapped there, you'll be stuck until you break out of it. It's a hard process, but it is very, very, very worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have experienced that. So you were journaling and that was helping you. It was allowing you to put your thoughts down on paper, to get them out of your head and to
Yeah.
think about all these thoughts that you were having and process them. And how what did that lead into or what happened next for you?
Well, do journaling. There's three things that I always tell people to do, and these will apply to you no matter if you're a teenager or you're 95 years old. Journaling, some sort of physical exercise, and a hobby that forces you to go outside.
Mhm.
Because if you're stuck inside all day, you're boxed in, you feel like you're trapped, you get claustrophobic, it's tight. And then that's gonna tighten how you see the world. It's going to box your worldview in. You're in here and you're stuck in your head with all these problems. You have no way to get them out because you're not journaling. You have all this anger that's just building up, and you don't have a way of taking it out through exercise or through yoga or through running or swimming or something that allows you to physically move the body.
Right.
And if you don't have any hobbies or anything that's fun to you, you're going to stay scrolling on Instagram or social media or movies or television all day. And then you're going to start to compare yourself to the biggest and the best and the most handsome and the tallest and the skinniest and the prettiest. So you get stuck in this loop. And journaling, which is why I mentioned it first, because it starts in your head. When you become aware of what goes on in here, once you know the problem, you can create a solution. And now it's about taking action on the solution. So that's one of the biggest changes that occurred there.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of that, what you're talking about is mindset. It's shifting that mindset where you were struggling and thinking, like, maybe I contributed to this or what's wrong? You know, why is this happening? And I feel so much pain. I'm scared, whatever those thoughts are that were coming up for you and then being able to process them and start to develop more of a growth mindset where you're like, okay, this is not fixed. I can get out and do something. I can get involved in exercise. I can get involved in something that I'm interested in and get me away from this and connect me to something else. And so seeing the possibilities and start seeing, okay, there's more than what I have dealt with. And so I know you talk a bit about mindset with other young people. What's a message or two that you often share or that you like to talk about in terms of mindset?
Well, two of the biggest mindset messages that I love to share with people is firstly, before you try to go and get the shiny stuff on the outside, so think money, cars, relationships, moving out of your parents' house, whatever the external thing is, it could be as simple as getting your first job. It could be that simple. Before you go and try to get all of the stuff outside, fall in love with you. Fall in love with you as a person, not for what you have, not for what you do, not for how you look or what people say about you, but fall in love with the things about you that most people think are weird.
Yeah.
Because as long as you place your self worth in your bank account, I can take away that self worth by just lowering your bank account. If you place your self worth in your car and your car gets totaled and they need to repair it and it's just scrap metal now your self worth is gone. Your confidence is gone because you don't have your car. But when you have a good connection with yourself, then The car is just a nice add-on. The money is a nice add-on. It solves a lot of problems, but it's just a nice add-on. It's not a part of you.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, we see that with celebrities and stuff, they have lots and lots of money, but they still don't love themselves, even despite all that. So there's this perception of when I get this, then I'll be happy. And the reality is it doesn't always work that way, that it's not about those things, like you're saying, it's about what's inside of you.
Yeah, a great example that you just brought up with celebrities and money is think of it like this. If I gave you $100 million tax free, no strings attached, it's yours now. You feel fantastic. Like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. Now I'm going to go give somebody else $400 billion. You're going to think he has so much more than me. This is terrible. I'm poor
Right.
because there's always a bigger, shinier thing. There's the iPhone 12, and then there's the iPhone 12 Max. You had the iPhone 12 and we were like, this is the best phone ever. I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. Then you see the iPhone Max, and you're like, my phone's not good enough.
Right. And now there's what, 15, 16. So it just keeps going.
Yeah. So
And
that's
that's the
why
other
it's so
thing. It's like an
important.
endless cycle, right? There's always something else. It's always like, as they say, the grass is always greener. There's always something. So when we're focusing on those material things, on those imagery and perception, that's not real substance in terms of like who you are as a person inside. And as you said, Lawrence, like your weird stuff, which is what's unique about you and what's special. That
Yeah.
it's not so
So
weird.
yeah, so of course, it's great to have these things, but you need to love yourself first before you go and try and get all the nice stuff. Because a jet ski is really cool, but if you compare it to a yacht, you're gonna think that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
And the second one that I often share with people is as harsh as this might sound, a lot of the opinions of people that you're worried about, they're gonna be dead in 50 years. So it sounds a bit grim, but there's going to come a time when you'll be laid on your deathbed at like 85 years old or something, and you're looking up at the ceiling and you're thinking, man, I could have done this. I should have done that. If I if I could have, I would have. But the problem is you were too afraid of what somebody from your high school was going to think about your music career
Mhm.
or what your ex-girlfriend was going to think if you decided all of a sudden you wanna get into gardening. But the reality is that you were born by yourself, you will be buried by yourself. You will meet a lot of really good people along the way. You will lose a lot of good people along the way for one reason or another.
Mhm.
Relationship will come, relationship will go. But the only opinion that you will die with is the opinion that you have of yourself. So when you feel like you have this idea you want to go out and try, as long as it is safe, legal, and respectable, ask yourself, why am I afraid? Because you're going to trace it back around like, oh, I'm probably afraid of my mom's opinion. That really used to be mine. It was the thing I was the most afraid of was my mom's opinion of me deciding I'm going to start making a career out of hopping on the internet and talking and selling books and all these things. I was afraid of my mom's opinion because I knew she wouldn't understand it. But now she kind of had just accepted and realized, well, I mean, I don't understand it, but he's doing his thing.
Right. And you're doing what you are passionate about and what you enjoy, and you're getting a lot out of it personally, I'm sure. And so she's seeing that and she's like, okay, he's doing a good thing. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
right though, but it does take that courage to say, you know what, they may not understand, but this is something that I'm interested in, something I'm passionate about. This is something I want to do, or how I want to be as a person, whatever it might be. Like you said, from gardening to speaking, could be anything. So the question I have is, as a young person, How do you love yourself? I mean, that's a big, hard thing sometimes when maybe you come from abusive background or conflict or just difficult life circumstances, or maybe even your life circumstances are pretty good, but you just don't feel good about yourself. You're feeling like you aren't enough because of everything that you're seeing around you. So, what are some of your thoughts about maybe some initial steps to start to build that self-love?
I would say, and this is from my own experience too, that in order to build that self-love, you have to figure out what is it that stopped you from loving yourself. You gotta figure out the problem before you can solve it. Because imagine a baby. When a baby is born, they're just a blank canvas. They're just like, "Oh my gosh, everything's so great." They're just crawling around, chewing on their own hands. They're putting their feet in their mouth. They don't really have any care of your opinion. And naturally, we're all going to care about people's opinion to some degree. But when you're growing up and you have friends or people around you and they're saying negative things about you, you start to soak that in. You start to soak in these bad things about people. You start to soak in, oh, if I don't look a certain way, or I don't talk this way, or I don't dress that way, or I don't have this phone, or I don't have these shoes, I'm not good enough. That's the opinion that you internalize. And your brain takes that and says, okay, this is the standard. This is what we're measuring ourselves against. So it's going to be unique to each person, which is why I tell you journaling. It will help you to figure out what it is for you. Because for me, it was the thing that stopped me from loving myself was issues with my dad, issues with getting bullied growing up. That was the thing for me.
Mhm.
For you, it might be that one family member who always has some sort of reason to share an opinion on your idea. They always have something bad to say. And then you have to remove the people, places, and things that are causing you to have trouble loving yourself. Easier said than done. Because for me, it was family members.
Right.
I had to completely remove certain family members from my life. Other people, it might be a place. Other people, it might be a habit. Other people, it might be changing the kind of music you listen to. Because if you listen to super sad music 24 hours a day, it's not surprising when you feel really depressed because you're soaking in sadness.
Mhm.
So to put it simply, figure out what is it that stopped you from loving yourself. Or you might be feeling good already, but you want to go even higher. You might want to go even higher, like you want to be just waking up feeling euphoric. You got to figure out what it is that's holding you back from it. Because I believe our natural state of being is just love. And when we come out of that, that's when all the painful emotions happen. You know, somebody cut you off in traffic, you get upset. Job fired you, issues in life. It's natural to feel a lot of emotions,
Mhm.
but just figure out what is it that's holding you back and then remove it and then replace it with something that is good for you.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really great advice because I think most people about giving advice on loving yourself, they think of these practices or tools, and you're not even going there yet. It's like, let's go back to the root. Let's look
Yeah,
at,
it's like a
yeah,
kind
where's
of
the,
like a bucket.
mm-hmm,
So imagine you're a bucket, right? And I poke a bunch of holes in you. And then I pour all this water in there and I'm like, meditation, self-love, spa bath, pray to the moon, do all these things. But we haven't fixed the holes. So no matter how much self-care practices we put in the bucket, it'll just leak out because we haven't addressed the problem.
right,
The problem is we need to fix the holes. We need to figure out what hurts you, who hurts you, what's causing you to leak out all the water. And then once we fix that, then we can build you up. It's like a house. You build a house from the ground up. And before you even do that, you have to look at the foundation. Because if you build a house on sand, it will sink into the ground. You have to have a strong foundation, and only once they have a strong foundation do you even begin to build the first thing you see.
Yeah, that's very good way of describing it. So it's very visual and easy to understand. And I would agree. I mean, even with the work that I do, we always go back to the root or start with the root. It's like, where is this coming from? How can we address that so that we can then build from there and look at, okay, what changes do we need to make and what practices are most appropriate to help you make that change, to take those steps forward and to see that transition in your life. So I think that is super valuable. One of the things that, as you were talking, kind of popped up in my mind that can be great in a lot of ways, but it can also be harmful in other ways. It can be toxic in some ways, and that's social media. And I wanted to get your perspective because it depends on how much you use it, of course, and what your involvement in social media is. But just your thoughts in terms of good, bad, ugly. What are your thoughts on social media?
I really think that it's ironic for me to say that, but I genuinely believe social media has done more harm than good. But that's not because social media itself is inherently bad. It's that people gravitate naturally towards bad stuff. It's I believe the term for it is our negativity bias.
Hmm.
So imagine if somebody was on Instagram giving out money to homeless people. They're like, oh, that's cool. That's nice. Good job. I'm gonna leave a like and comment on that. But imagine if somebody fell off their bike and snapped their neck in half and there's guts everywhere. That'll get like a million reposts, but the guy giving money to the homeless will get maybe 10 reposts. And I say this based off my own numbers. So the videos I've had that have gotten the most views have actually been the ones where I'm not giving much value. I'm just giving like entertainment. It's just like, oh, this is a funny thing that happened in my life, and I'm just sharing a story time.
Yeah.
Whereas the videos where I'm giving you real deep insight that are okay, here's an actionable step on how you can build a better mindset, how you can achieve your goals, how you can have a better life. People don't really share that as much. Now, if you use social media for the purposes of spreading awareness to an issue or learning about something, then social media for that purpose has leveled the playing field for everybody.
Hmm.
You can get well, you cannot get a certified Harvard degree from the internet, but Harvard uploads all of their lectures to YouTube for free. ChatGPT, free. Google, free. Wikipedia, free. If you use social media well, you can learn anything on it. But most people don't know how to use it. So because of that reason, they gravitate towards living vicariously through their favorite influencer. And that's where the issues of if you don't have a Bugatti or you're 6'5" or you don't make $1 million a month or you don't have a size one dress or you don't look a certain way, that's where those issues come in. So it's really down to how an individual uses it.
Yeah, and I think that that is what we're viewing can really make a big difference, of course. And then how much time we're spending on it. As you were saying earlier, if you're spending a good part of your day on social media and you're not getting out in real life and connecting with people, I think we're starting to see that with loneliness and those sorts of things. So, you know, trying to turn your life around instead of absorbing it in something that just is entertaining and distracts you. Of course, and I totally agree. It's how I use a lot of social media or just online in general is education, learning things, exposing yourself to new information, new ways of approaching or thinking about things. And so that's really cool. And it can be a great way to see how, like, the situation that you're in today and realize, oh, there is more out there and there is great possibility that I can make these changes. Like even Lawrence, following people like you who are inspirational, who can provide those insights and provide the advice of, well, try this. This is something that you can do to make a positive change in your life.
Something you mentioned too about how you use social media. it just jogged my thought that the vast majority of people, I would this is just me throwing a number off the top of my head. I would probably estimate maybe 90 to 95% of people don't use social media for the explicit purpose of getting useful information on a positive subject.
Mhm.
So, yeah, people go there to find out about world tragedies. You're getting information, but you're soaking in world tragedy, or you're getting information on celebrity drama or entertainment. But explicitly seeking out useful, valuable content is very rare. Like, on a statistic basis, it's very rare. It just seems normal because we do it so much. And this is why I believe that with the way the algorithm works too, it just shows you more of whatever you give your attention to. That's why social media apps are free.
Yeah.
They monetize your attention because they know sooner or later you're going to buy something on there and they'll get money from that.
Mhm.
And if more people became aware of just how much useful information you can get for free off of the internet, we could have such a much beautiful world.
Yeah. And you mentioned, some of the negativity or like the gruesome things that we look at on media and social media and so forth. And there does seem to be more of a negative bias, like, the drama of celebrities, as you mentioned, and other things. But trying to bring in more positive messaging, do you think that that would be helpful? Is that important for a lot of young people today?
It is very helpful and important, but something I've noticed too is that when people are ready, then they will listen.
Hmm.
If they're not ready, they just won't listen. And you can't make them listen. I've tried.
Right.
Trust me, I have tried so hard. But the thing is that when people are ready, they're ready. They can't just wake up and decide, okay, I'm going to swim today. They have to step their toes into the water first. And somehow this just popped in my head too. That because of the negativity bias and because our brain just goes and finds more of what we're telling it to find, in case anyone wants to look into this, it's called your reticular activating system. So every day, a ton of things happen. A ton of things happen. You have like 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day,
Hmm.
but the vast majority are repetitive from the day before. You eat at the same time. You sleep at the same time. You have this giant code in your brain that is telling you what to do, what to think, and it's running behind the scenes. You don't even know it's there. But by making conscious, deliberate actions, such as, okay, when you want to go and grab that burger, instead you grab something else, it tells your brain, okay, we're going to start doing things differently. And you start to rewire the code. The problem, however, is because social media is deliberately built to simply show you more of what you interact with, if for the last year, all you've been interacting with is drama and celebrity arguments and world tragedy and people flexing their money, now social media is like, oh, we're just going to keep showing you that. But you have to deliberately block these pages, deliberately only like posts that you want to see more of. You have to make deliberate conscious action to change your social media feed or just make a whole new account.
Hmm.
Those are your options there.
Yeah. So, thinking about going back to someone who maybe is in a situation where they're feeling pretty down about themselves and they're struggling, and some suggestions. I know journaling is a big one for you, which I think is great. I agree. Journaling is a wonderful method. Are there any other methods that you've come across that you think are very helpful in someone working through their thoughts and working through their challenges and starting to make change in their life for the positive?
Okay. So in terms of advice for people who are going through challenges and they want to make change for the positive, I will break that into two different categories of people. The first one is dire emergencies. So if you're feeling like you're gonna hurt yourself or hurt somebody else and you genuinely feel like this, talk to somebody. Talk to a counselor, a parent, a teacher, a hotline, a crisis center. If it is one of those situations where you're feeling like you're going to hurt someone or hurt yourself, talk to somebody about that as soon as possible
Mhm.
because we don't want to do anything we'll regret. Now, if your situation is not anything in that category, you're just feeling really down, you're really stressed out, you're really sad, but it's not dire emergency situation, this is the advice for you. Use your imagination because if you can close your eyes and think about a better situation, if you can close your eyes and think, okay, right now, I might be living in a really rough neighborhood. Right now, I might not have food in the refrigerator. Right now, I might have got fired from my job, or my girlfriend or boyfriend broke up with me, or my car got crashed. I got into a car crash, but my legs aren't broken. I am physically fine. My car is destroyed now. If you can close your eyes and imagine yourself in a better situation, and you can feel yourself in that better situation, you can see the nice car, you can see the nice house, you're in the wonderful home, you got food in the refrigerator. Your brain will create the chemicals as if you were in that situation. And little by little, this gives you hope. Hope is the strongest thing out there. There was a study where these scientists put a rat into a bucket of water and they decided to see how long would the rat keep swimming until it drowns, like until it just gives up and drowns. It took about 16 minutes, I believe. Then the second time they did this, they put the rat in there, and at 16 minutes, it started drowning. But then they took it out right before it would have died. And they dried it off, they fed it, they made it warm, and then they threw it back in the bucket. This time, however, the rat swam for 36 hours nonstop
Wow.
because it has hope. It has hope that things can get better because it's seen something better. You can also try if you have the money or access to public transportation to do this, go to a nice area of your city or the next town over and just look at nice houses. You don't obviously can't go inside of them, but you can take a walk through a nice area. You can buy a really cheap, like the cheapest item at a fancy restaurant. Instead of eating at McDonald's, you can go eat at Olive Garden. It could be that simple. Instead of eating at Wendy's or the Burger King, you can go to Panda Express. It's not luxury dining, but it's a lot better.
Mhm.
And if you can soak up that energy and that emotion of something better than where you are now, you can start to have hope and make progress. And before you know it, you can go from that 12-year-old who was worried that the entire world was out to get him to the 19-year-old who is a beacon on the internet or doing whatever that you want to do.
Right.
You can do a lot in 7 years.
Yeah, so it's creating that vision and then taking step towards that vision. That's what I see when I close my eyes, and how can I get there, and starting to think about what are those steps I need to take? What are those changes I need to make?
Um,
Yeah, to
I
get
actually did
there.
a I actually did a video on this yesterday, actually. So we often think naturally about, okay, if I do, then I will be, then I will have. If I do the things I need to do to be the person I need to be, I will get the thing I want to have. However, the problem is that it's a lot more effective if you be the person who does the thing that leads to what you have. So you have to, this is why I said imagination, because you have to get delusional. Yes. When I started my channel, I was sitting in the grass. I did not have a tripod. I did not have a microphone. All I had was an iPhone. That was it. But I acted as if I had the tripod and the cameras and the lighting and all that good stuff. Because when we mentally be the person in our head, mentally, I'm the person.
Mhm.
Now I go in think, as this person, what would I do to get the thing I want? If right now, physically, you're living in a bad neighborhood, you're 16, 15 years old, you can't just move out and get into the nice neighborhood. Okay. Physically, you can't do that. But mentally, you can. So mentally, I'm living in a beautiful apartment. I'm looking over the city. What do I do to pay my rent? What do I do? Do I sell products online? Do I have a high paying job? Do I have a career of some sort? So now that I am that person mentally, I can figure out what can I do right now to begin having that.
Yeah.
Can I study sales techniques? Can I study getting a degree? Can I do something of some sort somehow right now to make progress towards having the thing I need?
Yeah. And as you said, there's a lot online that we can access that can start that process for you, where you can start to learn maybe a topic or a discipline, a skill,
Yeah.
and you can do
If
that
you
that way.
genuinely don't have any idea, like, okay, I don't know what I want to do. I know what I want, but I don't know how to get it. I know the thing I want, but I don't know, should I become an engineer? Should I become a doctor? Should I start my own business? Should I have like an online shop? There's so many things that are being pushed, like, oh no, get into crypto trading and get into this or get into that. You can go on ChatGPT and literally ramble to it. It had the entire information of the whole internet for free if you just explain what you want to it.
Mhm.
Hey, ChatGPT, I am currently a 15-year-old who does not have job experience, but by the age of 30, I want to be making $90,000 a year. How do I do that?
Mhm.
And it's going to ask you something along the lines of, well, what are you good at? I'm not really good at that many things. Can you help me figure out an idea? Well, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Oh, I usually go to the park with my friends. I write. I am on the swimming team at my high school. Well, have you ever thought of writing books on Amazon? That's an idea. As somebody who does it, I'll tell you that it's it's definitely possible to make a good amount of money off of it, but I don't necessarily recommend it unless you have a really good book and really good marketing.
Yeah.
Or it might tell you, well, have you ever thought about being a swimming coach? Like you work as a lifeguard to save up money to eventually invest that into a business idea of some sort? And before you know it, ChatGPT in 10 minutes is going to help you to figure out the method for you to get the thing you want. It can help you to create a step-by-step plan to achieve that. And you can even customize it down to the point of, well, I am a 15-year-old from Philadelphia who has, I don't have dyslexia, but let's say you did, who has dyslexia. And I taught myself how to become better at reading. What can I do? Oh, you can coach dyslexic teenagers
Mhm.
on how to become better at reading. That is a very in demand thing for a market that really needs it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So creating the prompt that gets Chat GPT asking those questions and like starting to define what is that for you.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. That when I was young, there was a book called "What Color Is Your Parachute," and that asked you questions, but it wasn't real time like Chat GPT, which is so much better. So and can really provide you with a much more customized and nuanced response. So very cool. Okay. And one thing that we touched on a little bit earlier that I definitely did want to get your perspective on, which is getting help. I think that sometimes when we are struggling and we're still not quite there, like we're feeling like there is something wrong with me, or it's going to be too hard, or no one cares, or I don't want to burden my parents, like maybe for you with your mom, like, oh, I don't want to tell her that I'm struggling. What are your thoughts about in terms of getting help and resources and making that first step? Because it can be hard to admit, like, I'm really struggling here.
Well, something that helped me a lot was when you want extra help, it's scary to do that because you don't want people to judge you. You don't want to be a burden. You don't want to seem emotional. You don't want to seem like you're overreacting. Start simple. Hey, mom. Hey, dad. Hey, teacher, counselor, sports coach, whoever. I'm feeling really upset. Oh, well, why are you upset? Well, I'm going through some stuff at home. You don't have to get super detailed. You just start on the surface and then you work your way into it. You don't just have to walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, random stranger, here's my deepest, darkest, most painful moments. Please don't judge me. Please don't think I'm crazy." You don't need to do that. You just start simple. I'm upset today. I'm really stressed out because of this math test, or I'm stressed out because I'm going through something at home, or having people you trust, having somebody around you who you can just talk to. And if you don't, the problem is that the longer you wait to open your hand, it's just like the problems start building and building and building and building and building, and your mind starts digging you deeper into it. And like,
Mhm.
nobody's going to understand your problem. You're the only one out of 8 billion people on the face of the earth that have this problem. Nobody anywhere is going to understand your problem. You are the snowflake in the world where everyone is the same. And it sounds silly when you say it out loud.
Right.
Like if you ask yourself, what's the realistic chances that I'm the only person in the world who ever had this problem? Very unlikely.
Mhm.
There's people out there who care and there are people out there who want to help you. But if you listen to your mind and listen to it telling you that you are just stuck, it's never going to work out for you, you won't get the help you need.
Mhm.
And that can end very tragically. So start simple, start easy, and work your way into it. There are people who care.
Definitely. Yeah, there definitely are. And there's resources at all levels, all types. So it's a matter of finding what you have access to, what's around you. If it's not immediate family, then as you said, a coach, a counselor at school, maybe someone if you're involved in a church, maybe, someone there or some other community organization that you might have access to or be involved with that you could find a supportive person or persons. Maybe it's a group of people who are just create like a supportive group that you help each other out. So there definitely can be a lot of creative approaches and a lot of great resources. And there's, one thing that I have found and actually had a recent conversation about this on another podcast, but the hesitation to find support for ourselves, like, oh, no one will understand. No one has this problem that I have. And as you said, the reality is, yeah, other people do. They struggle just like you do. And having the courage to make that first step, that first small step, because it does have that possibility at the end. Like if you keep walking towards that direction and you keep making those steps, it can be so valuable. So before we wrap up today, I would love to know if you have maybe, as those initial steps, like an action step that really worked for you in terms of building greater resilience, self-love, or a stronger mindset.
Let's say there are many things, but the
Yeah.
first one that just popped into my head is when it feels like you're at the bottom, when it feels like everything's going wrong and the world's so crazy and you got all these problems in your life, understand that as out there as this might sound, you and your mind are not the same thing. Your brain is the computer that is running all these thoughts and saying, this. The world is so terrible. Look at all these problems. Look at how bad your life is. Your brain is telling you that because it's just a computer that's telling you what to focus on. You, however, are the observer of that computer. So when you feel like you're stuck, remind yourself that, hold up, I can literally rewire this thing, not even just in a metaphorical sense, but your thoughts actually make a physical neuron connection in your brain that rewires it over time. So step one, understand that where you are right now is not where you'll always be. There is always some way to make it suck just a bit less.
Yeah.
Because I understand when the problem is right there in front of you, when you're sitting on that couch and you just got your eye blacked, or you just had a family member pass away in front of you, or you had this tragedy happen. It's a bit hard to see anything good at that time. It's easier, however, to find a way to make it a little less bad. And then, as I always say to people, get yourself a journal, write it down, write down what you're feeling, write down what you're thinking, write down what you're going through, and get outside. You need sunlight. It's it's such common sense, but we don't think about it. We weren't meant to be in a closed off, boxed room the entire day.
Yeah.
We were meant to be getting sunlight and fresh air and seeing the clouds. Whenever you feel like things are falling apart, go outside. Go for a 5-minute walk if you live in a safe enough area.
Yeah.
Step one, understand the problem. Figure out what it is. Step two, how can I make this a little less bad? Step three, write out what you're feeling. Write down your thoughts. Write out a plan. Write out some goals. Step five, imagine yourself living the life that you want. Not how will I get there, not when or what do I do. Nope, nope. Just A, B. You are in that car. You are in that good life. You are no longer affected by this problem. Getting there, we'll figure that out later. But when you're at the bottom, you need that hope. Because, like I said earlier, with the rats, it proves hope will keep you swimming for 36 hours straight.
Yep. Yep. And we need that hope sometimes. So that I love that. Yeah. Lawrence, thank you so much for joining us and sharing everything today. I think that your 5 steps right there were very inspirational and really did a great recap of what we talked about. So hopefully, someone listening today got some great information and is able to apply that to their life and make some changes that are for the positive. So thank you very much. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And
So if anyone wants to connect with you, follow you, reach you, find you, how do they do that?
all of my social media pages on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are all Lawrence C. Empowers. It is the same on every platform.
Okay.
My personal website, lawrenceharris.com. And if by any chance anyone listening to this is a high school principal, an event coordinator, or a podcast host, you can email me directly at lawrence@lawrencecharris.com. It is very memorable.
Yep. Straightforward. All right. And I can include those links in the show notes too. So we'll connect on that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lawrence. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too.
Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode and gained some valuable insights and action steps that you can use in your life. In return, I would be most grateful if you could do me a huge favor and hit the follow button right now. That 1-second action makes it easy for you to catch every episode, and it helps the show to continue to improve and reach more people like you to make a difference in their lives. And one last thing. If you're a teen, college-age young adult, or a parent wanting to make real, lasting change with weight, body image, disordered eating, or nutrition, so you can build greater self-esteem and feel confident, happy, and healthy in your own body, schedule a free clarity call with me at leslierosecoaching.com/chat or click the link in the show description. My coaching takes a holistic approach addressing every contributing factor, not just one piece of the puzzle, so that you can get sustainable results. Parents, if you'd like more parent-specific tips and in-depth information on teen health and wellness, or for alerts on my coaching programs delivered straight to your email inbox, sign up for my newsletter at leslierosecoaching.com. Until next time, be sure to apply what you've learned today so you can live a healthy teen life.